The Big 12 Experience edition for the Kansas Jayhawks 2024 Team Preview edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up today using that promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick and first sign deposit offer off up to $250 bonus in cash. Underdog Fantasy promo code TCESGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm's college football and NFL and projections are now live. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That is the sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM today. And welcome, everybody, into the Big 12 College Experience, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Friday, August the 9th, we inch closer and closer. 2 weeks from week 0, 3 weeks from week 1, less than 3 weeks from opening night in the Big 12, Colorado, North Dakota State. But hey, we're not talking Colorado. We're talking Kansas Jayhawks. A great year for Coach Leipold and company. First off, if you're wondering who you are listening to, I am Moneyline Mac, a.k.a. the former video coordinator for Bob Huggins and Frank Martin, and I know plenty about them Jayhawks. But joining me to talk Jayhawk football, well, you guys know him. He's got a family civil war among the Big 12, whether it's in Waco, Stillwater, Fort Worth, Cincinnati, Orlando. He's everywhere. He's the green mowing, weed growing, Troy Chewning, a.k.a. the Big 12 guru. What is up, brother?
What's going on? Happy Friday, happy hour. I just realized got to wait for the first ad to run and get myself a Miller Lite. I thought I had one right here, but it's bone dry. Weird. So I'm stuck on my fucking Capri Sun like a 10-year-old. Yeah, not much going on. Bunch of rain up here in the DC area. All the golf for the weekend has been canceled. I'm stuck doing jack shit, riding on the stationary bike because I'm antsy, but we'll have football soon enough, and these long weekends of being stuck inside will be glorious.
Yes, we will. Football is upon us, and football is upon us for the Kansas Jayhawks. So let's recap. Year 3, or year 4 now, headed into the Lance Leipold era, and if you're a Kansas Jayhawk fan, this guy has been the best thing for your program in a long, long time. 17-21 overall. Throw that out. That doesn't reflect the job he's done. He went 2-10 his first year, had no offseason. 6-7. They took strides in year 2, then 9-4, including a bowl game when Troy, we talked about it. Lance Leipold is as good a coach in the country in the Big 12 at getting the most out of his roster, out of his talents from an X's and O standpoint. Unbelievable job so far. Your thoughts on the Leipold era?
Yeah, I always see it described as like if it was NASCAR, the restrictor plate races that they do where everybody has the same stock car with the exact same horsepower, like the max horsepower and all that kind of shit. If Lance Leipold was competing in like NASCAR of college football and everybody had the equal team, this guy would be competing for national titles against some of the best coaches in the nation. The fact that he did it, 9 wins last year, we were talking about this right before the show. I think that's the 5th best season in Kansas program history for football.
Yeah.
I know they were with Todd Reesing in 2007, they were pretty good. They had a kind of a weird season in 95, and then there was a 10-win season in 1905, but there's not too many times at Kansas where they're getting 9 and 10 wins in a season, which is kind of nuts. I mean, it's a hell of a job.
Have to go back to the old man Gino era, baby. Shout out to Mr. Mangino. That team was fun. The Orange Bowl win over Virginia Tech, but this team has a chance to match that and more, and for years to come, because I don't think he's going anywhere. And just what he was able to do at Buffalo, Wisconsin, Whitewater, he was winning national championships every single year, or every other year. I mean, he won how many? He won 6. We talk about climbing and the success he had at North Dakota State. That was what Leipold was at the D3 level. Troy, real quick, we got to hit an ad break. if you want to go get a cold one, because
That's
I
beer
got to
time.
talk. This is the quick one, though, because we are brought to you. I'll make it long. I'll make it worth your while Troy goes and gets a cold one. We at the College Experience, Big 12 College Experience, are brought to you by the Sports Gambling Podcast, and they just launched their 32 NFL team previews and a bonus for each preview. They will include a code word. Submit the 32 code words phrase, and you can be the lucky winner who gets $500 in the NFL Circa Bet. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and in the SGPN app. You know that it's supposed to be a quick break, but I'm a pro over here. I can prolong it so you can get a cold one there, Troy.
I had a couple in the mini fridge right around the corner, so I wasn't too
go.
worried about time.
You're like
Set
Jalon
myself
Daniels
up.
running this. Yeah, you're
myself
like
up for
Jalon.
success there. Yeah.
You're like Jalon Daniels running this offense. Let's get into this offense that we're talking about. Coming back, obviously, last year could have been a lot better. We talked about 9-4. They could have been a lot better if Jalon Daniels had stayed healthy. They returned 7 guys from last year. Phil Steele's experience rank 16th among all teams in the country, so that's good. 83rd from a production standpoint. 7 on the offense, including the man, Jalon Daniels, who's healthy. What are your thoughts on this offense coming into the year outside of overall health, and how good can Neal be in the backfield again?
Well, they expect Neal probably to become the all-time leading rusher at Kansas after this year. I know they have Hishaw too, a nice little running back duo that returns from last year. I think he had like 650 yards and 8 touchdowns last year as a number 2 option, which is, you're taking that all day, every day behind Neal. I know everybody's worried about the Jalon Daniel, the back injury, and if he's going to be okay and all that kind of stuff. But the returning injured guy, Logan Brown, is the one that really intrigues me. He's a former pretty top recruit, offensive lineman. Didn't play last year because of an injury, and they're hoping that, they lose a couple offensive linemen. They have a good guy that transfers out. They're kind of hoping that Logan Brown can fill that. And, the best way to deal with Jalon Daniels' injuries would be to block for his ass and keep him from getting touched. I know he's going to run, but at least you could keep guys off of his back over and over again. But I do see the offense here, kind of being pretty explosive. The 3, they get, Arnold, Skinner, and Grimm back outside, 3 wide receiver trio. They all average like over 15 yards per catch too. So they're all big chunk, big play guys, which is kind of what Kansas is looking to do with Jalon. Again, I don't know if I want to say this is the strength of the team though. You would hope that the offense kind of carries them, but the guys they bring back on defense are also really, really good. It kind of seems like a team that solid execution could get them to that 7-win number. I don't know about the 7.5 being the over and under, but they should have, plenty of games with pretty good offensive success. We're just going to have to see if they can sustain that on a week-to-week basis. But, that running game is going to be something that you can lean on when things aren't going great in the passing game. And seems to be, like we've talked about, seems to be the new direction of the Big 12 is you've got to have that ball control aspect, even if you're going to have a quarterback that can dot guys and put up stats. There's still going to be times where you need to, ground and pound it. And I think if they can figure out the offensive line, then they'll have no problem doing that this year.
Yeah, and I think our quarterback's best friend is a really good stud running back, and Devin Neal's been that. We should note it is a new offensive coordinator. Their former offensive coordinator takes the job at Penn State. So who they got coming in? They got Grimes from Baylor. So yeah, that's a little bit of a transition, but at the same time, it's Leipold's offense. Leipold's got his hands all over the offense. So I trust that it'll continue to run like a well-oiled machine. The whole thing is if Daniels can stay healthy. If Daniels can stay healthy, this is a Big 12 contender. This is a team that can get to the playoff, and I'll say it right now, they could win a playoff game, maybe 2 playoff games, and do what TCU did. Because that's how electric this guy is when he's healthy. He could be like what Max Duggan was for TCU 2 years ago. But that's a big if because he's got to stay healthy. So I agree with you. This is going to be the strength of the team, in my opinion, just because you bring back Daniels, you bring back Neal, you bring back a bunch of offensive linemen, you bring back your receivers. This is a good team on paper. Let's talk defense, man, because the defense on paper is pretty good too. I know they lost a couple guys to the NFL, but for the most part, I mean, they bring back a lot as well.
I know they had issues again getting pressure on the quarterback last year. So what I kind of noticed what they did in the transfer portal was for their front seven guys, they went and got big dudes, not necessarily like the twitchiest, fastest pass rushers, but they went and got big guys because if you're going to get sacks this year, they're going to be coverage sacks. You've got, Mello Dotson and Kobe Bryant at corner. You've got Grant and OJ Burrows at safety. Those are all four guys that are, you've got that whole back end, probably the best secondary in the conference. I would say all four of those guys are probably Sunday players too, if not at least three of them. So I kind of see, the biggest issues for them last year on defense was their red zone defense. They gave up 49 scores on 50 red zone attempts. 70% of those were touchdowns, and the only one that didn't score was a missed field goal by Oklahoma, and then they took down the fucking goalposts, which was kind of funny. That, one of the greatest games of last year for sure. Run them all the way to the lake, But I still see, they're hoping that that by Joby kid that transferred in from Michigan State. I think he was an Oklahoma commit at first, and he got away to Michigan State, and now he's coming back to Kansas. I think they're hoping that he, can provide a little bit of extra pressure on the edge. But if you kind of call somewhat of a conservative style defense, you should almost be able to lock down guys in this league for a pretty good amount of time and maybe get some extra pressure. But I kind of see this as being the strength. I really like college football teams that have that whole secondary put together and can kind of dominate from where you're looking at the quarterback all the way into the line of scrimmage. It's just going to be hard to move the ball in the air. And again, a lot of these teams that are the class of the class in the league, they know how to run the ball.
Move it.
At least they have big guys in the front seven. Maybe that clogs them up a little bit. Maybe they're really hoping to stop the run with some big guys and then just let mistakes occur down the field. I could see that working against a team like Oklahoma State, where you have an Alan Bowman that could throw 3 or 4 interceptions to this secondary. I don't know how well it would work against somebody like Cameron Rising that's not as big of a ballsy risk taker that, fuck it, someone's down there somewhere kind of player. But I really could see the secondary really carrying this team on the defensive side. And, they haven't really been the greatest, even under Leipold. They've gotten better every year, but they started off absolutely horrendous on the defensive side of the ball, giving up like 509 points in his first year. If that offense can produce, then, you're not asking for a lot out of the defense. You're asking for a couple of stops a game and, maybe some end of quarter inbounds tackles to keep a couple of 3-point opportunities off the scoreboard. And on this, I would say kind of weak schedule for the conference, a couple of those stops could be the difference.
Yeah, the biggest difference, the level of athlete that they've been able to recruit there, the depth that they've been able to stockpile there at the defensive side of the football. They were a joke. Let's call it what it is. They were a joke when he got there, the Les Miles era, and him and that staff have done an unbelievable job. Another company that does an unbelievable job. Well, it's Underdog Fantasy, baby. Underdog Fantasy has their best ball. Go check out me and Nick's best ball draft. Troy's going to be joining us throughout the months, giving out some best ball lineups as well. And he'll be tweeting out some Underdog Pick'em lineups as we get it closer and closer to the season. Go follow him at Troy Chewning. He gave out winners left and right last year on this very platform, the Big 12 College Experience. We love Underdog. But here's what you got to do. You got to use our promo code right above my damn head, TCESGPN. And that way, when you put your deposit in, you'll get the special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 bonus in cash. Underdog Fantasy, promo code TCESGPN. And we're also brought to you by Game Time. Game Time, baby. If you want to get over to the Kansas Jayhawk game this year, go the Fog. Go the Fog once we get to college basketball. Love the Fog, but you're going to want to do it the right way. Get to Game Time, buy your tickets, and know exactly where you're sitting and get the best bang for your buck. So use our promo code CFBX to get $20 off your first purchase. Again, terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CFBX for $20 off. Download that Game Time app. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. We are back on the Big 12 college experience. Kansas Jayhawks version. Shout out to the chat. Chad G, he likes the bun today, Troy. Troy, I see the over win to under at 8.5. 8.5, 11-1 to win the Big 12. 250-1 to win the national championship. I know we gave out Jalon Daniels as a long shot odds to win the Heisman. At 8.5, Troy, do you lean to the over?
No, it's still Kansas. 9 wins last year was their 5th best performance in program history.
And that was with the bowl game, too.
Yeah, I know. So when you're thinking about 8.5, and especially now that you've got a full 16-team conference, not that I see this team losing a lot in their non-con, but when you get to that 8.5 where you need 9 regular season win number, you might as well just bet them to win the league, right?
Yeah. We'll talk about how the schedule. I lean under initially because they've gone over every single year. 9 wins in the regular season's hard, especially in the Big 12. So let's talk. Let's go schedule. We'll lead it off here, Troy. They're playing Lindenwood. The Penitentiary's playing Kansas to start. And we should know, Troy, they're not playing these games at their home stadium as renovation. So this is a disadvantage.
Yeah, Children's Mercy or Arrowhead.
Yeah. And Arrowhead for the big games. Lindenwood is not at Arrowhead. So the Penitentiary is going to get fucked up by Jalon Daniels. Kansas wins by 70.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a check it out, I'm healthy game for Jalon Daniels. Even if he's not, it's still going to look like a wow, I'm healthy. Yeah, big win here for Kansas.
Let's go. All right, so the next two I'm going to ask you. At Illinois, that's a Saturday night game. I checked. And then they play Vegas Friday night at home under the lights. Is that one at Children's Mercy?
I think the Vegas one is.
I think that one's at Children's Mercy too. Kansas, pulling up their schedule right now. I have them going 2-0. I think that they're just a better football team than Illinois. We saw that last year. Illinois made it look a lot better than it was. But Kansas dominated that. I know the game's in Champaign, but I just think Kansas has better athletes, more explosive. That game's at Children's Mercy. So Friday night at Children's Mercy, baby. ESPN game against Vegas. They're going to win both of these, in my opinion. You? 3-0.
Yeah, I actually have them at 3-0 as well. Illinois isn't quite as groundy and poundy as they have been in the past, so that doesn't scare me as much. I would be more scared of that Vegas game, just surprising wise. Yeah, I guess I'll give them 3-0. I don't think I need to handicap them with one of these two losses. They should be able to beat all three of these teams.
I agree. They're going to be a touchdown favorite, in my opinion, in all these games. In Vegas will probably be more than a touchdown. Then they go to Morgantown week 4. They're in the loss column here. Let's go, Ears. 3-1 for me.
I think this is going to be a pretty good game, even though it's on the road in Morgantown. This is one of those. This is one of those games where your long shot Heisman pick is worthy if Jalon Daniels goes into Morgantown and finds a way to get the win, regardless of what his stats say. Like if he can find a way to go up there and win this game. I'm going to give it to West Virginia, though. I think West Virginia is kind of a couple of steps ahead of where they're at in their program's trajectory compared to Kansas. And I think Neil Brown's a better coach than Lance Leipold.
I don't agree with that one, but the last part.
Look, I'm riding my Neil Brown roller coaster wherever it goes. If we're going up, we're going up, and if we're going down, we're going down. But I'm riding that motherfucker.
They got us 2 years ago after the Pitt game was a letdown for the Mountaineers. They're not going to lose to Kansas twice in a row at Mountaineer Field. So I got the Ears beating them 3-1. Leipold's a better coach than Neal. I love Neal, but Lance Leipold's an elite coach. Next few games, TCU at home at Arizona State. I think they win both of these. I think the TCU game's a little sneaky just because it feels like TCU and Kansas always play these crazy games. Remember game day was there a couple years ago? That was when Daniels got hurt.
Yeah, I was going to say that was the injury game, wasn't it? I think
yeah.
I think I have this one the opposite, though. I think they should win both of these games, but I think the scary one is going to the desert to Arizona State. At that point in time in the season, it's a little too early for Arizona State to have given up, and maybe they've gotten a little bit of momentum here. I know when we did the preview for them, we had Arizona State starting off pretty hot through their non-con. This could be an unexpectedly good game. Luckily, they have a bye afterwards, though, so I'll go ahead and give them 2 wins here instead of looking ahead towards somebody. So 5-1.
5-1 for both of us. Then they get Willie Fritz, 2 great coaches, Willie Fritz, Lance Leipold. Tricky game just because they're going to get better at Houston. I got them winning, and then I had them losing in Manhattan. 6-2. We headed into the last 4 for me.
Yeah,
they've lost 15 in a row in this series.
The Houston one might be weird too because of that, like the 15 in a row and looking ahead. And if for some reason they're 5-1 coming out of that bye to play Houston, they're thinking, maybe this is the year we can get K-State, and they're looking ahead of that Houston spot. I don't think I'm going to give them a loss there. I'm definitely going to give them a loss to Kansas State, but there's a real weird world where like they lose to Houston by a field goal and then they beat Kansas State or something like that. I just don't. I don't know if Houston's got enough for a team that returns so much and a team that's so well coached. This is it's not a great spot for Houston to try to knock off Kansas, I don't think. So we'll have them go 1-1 in those 2 games.
So 6-2 for both of us. Heading into the last 4. Iowa State at BYU, Colorado at Baylor. I think they go 2-2 down the stretch and finish 8-4. I think they lose. I think they lose either Iowa State at home or that BYU road game. Provo's a tough place to play, and I think they lose at Baylor to end the year.
Yeah, I would not be surprised for Baylor to beat them in a spot where, like, if Baylor wins, they keep Kansas out of the Big 12 title game.
And Baylor goes bowling. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's also obviously that those 2 schools are starting to kind of build their own rivalry because of how good Baylor's been in basketball, kind of challenging the blue blood Jayhawks. I think that BYU game might be the loss too. I think they'll win both of these home games actually and lose at BYU and at Baylor. Maybe lose some mojo, but again, I don't know if the different stadiums, they could start to become an advantage here at the end of the year if you get a game, where your team is 6-2 or 7-2, and you're going in and you get to play Prime at home. That could be, I would assume that one's at Arrowhead.
Yeah, the thing that sucks though is like Iowa State. We've seen that that fan base travel the way they do to Kansas City for the Big 12 basketball tournament. If Iowa State's in the hunt, which we think they're going to be, that's going to turn into an Iowa State home game. So
yeah, that'll be a 50-50.
I think it's actually going to be more for Iowa State just because those fans are crazy. And then Colorado, I mean, we'll see what version of Colorado we have at that point. But yeah, I'm 8-4. I lean to the under, but another good season for Leipold in this program.
Yeah, the hook seems like what'll get you. I know I did see it at 7.5 a couple of weeks ago. I think I would be more confident in taking the over at 7.5, believe it or not, just based on besides the Lindenwood game, I see, a bunch of really, for lack of better words, toss-up games.
I mean, they did get a good schedule in terms of who they drew. They missed or who they missed.
I mean,
they missed
no Arizona,
Utah,
no Utah,
Arizona,
no Oklahoma State, no UCF,
Texas Tech,
no Texas Tech. Yeah.
Those are 5 out of the top 9. So, I mean, it's a good schedule in terms of who they miss. It's just it sucks that they don't have all their games at home, and they were good at home last year. So, Troy, real quick, on the other side, we'll give out the floor ceiling for the Jayhawks. But first, we got to talk about Rhythm. Rhythm is the best. You want to build your own algorithm, baby. They got the best betting models out there. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That is the sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. And we're also brought to you by Circa Survivor and Circa Millions. If Ryan and Sean are out there right now, but you really want to go out there for the weekend of August 22nd through 24th for the ultimate contest for a chance to win $16 million. What are you doing? Use our promo code SGP to save 15% off your hotel room for that weekend. You can sign up in person at Circa Sports between now and September 7th, or if you want to participate from anywhere, use our proxy. We got to deal with them. Proxy.footballcontest.com to save you $50 with the promo code SGP. Alrighty, Troy. The floor and ceiling for this team. Let's start with the ceiling. I think they realistically could go 11-1. I think there's a path. Yeah.
If all things go right, I would not be surprised to see them go on the road and beat West Virginia by like a small margin and have that K-State game be the only loss. Is that what you were thinking is the ceiling?
Yeah, I like they're going to be a dog, a decent dog in one game at K-State. At West Virginia, they'll probably be, a 2.5, 3-point dog. Those teams are pretty evenly matched. The game's just in Morgantown. Kansas can win that game. They can win they'll win at Arizona State. We predict them to win at Illinois. They can win at BYU. They're better than BYU. Provo's just a hard place to play, and then they can win at Baylor. So I think 11-1 is the ceiling.
Yeah, I think if that's the case, then your worry for the ceiling comes in that Colorado game late in the year. If you're 9-1 playing Prime's team, that could be something that gives the extra fake motivation to Colorado. Besides Kansas State, I don't really have anything on here as like a super lean loss. Everything else seems to be 50-50. So again, like this might be our biggest discrepancy in floor and ceiling because I could see them winning 10 or 11 games for sure.
Yeah, and LFG makes a good point. They have the 4th easiest schedule in the Big 12, so definitely got one of the more favorable. He's got Utah has the easiest, K-State, Oklahoma State, Kansas. Now, a lot of it has to do with that they don't have to play themselves. So, that is why maybe Utah
and trying to make a playoff bid with Utah. Yormark trying to make sure we get at least one of them that's
Utah or K-State
in a pretty good scenario.
Sneak peek, I love K-State, and I like the way their schedule breaks. Well, they're up next on our teams to preview. I know all the Kansas fans are like, get this jackass off. He's pumping K-State on the Kansas episode. But I love both these programs. I love the football program. I respect Bill Self and what he's built there too. But I definitely root against Kansas basketball at certain points. I'm about there. So we had some good battles with them. But let's floor.
Let's see.
Well, time out. The floor with Daniels staying healthy, because if Daniels goes down, they could go 4-8 or 5-7 and miss a bowl because they don't have Beam this year. But if Daniels stays healthy, and let's just say they lose a bunch of close games, I think 6-6.
I could even see 5-7. I could see them still losing to Arizona State. And like also Illinois. Like I could see that Illinois game being like a sneaky one.
So drop
in
the
the
Illinois
event,
game.
yeah, like in the event that things aren't going well and they lose, that Illinois game on the road and the West Virginia game on the road and the Arizona State game on the road, and they're 3-3 going into the bye.
Yeah.
That could be, I would see Kansas State still beating them, and then maybe Iowa State, Colorado, and Baylor.
Yeah, or BYU. Yeah, you're right. 5-7, but yeah. So this
I
team does.
I could see that Illinois game being the option for the floor opens up as soon as that game is not a pretty commanding victory. Like, even if they only win that game by a small margin on the road, I could see that your 6-6 coming into play there. Like, if they don't look that impressive against what I think is going to be one of the weaker Illinois teams that we've seen recently.
Agree. All right. Well, we're both on the under slightly. If it's 8.5, if it's 7.5, we both lean to the over because we got the Jayhawks going 8-4 this year, just missing out on Dallas. But the ceiling is they can get to Dallas and win playoff games. Do you agree with that?
Oh yeah.
And then if that's the case, he could win the Heisman.
Definitely. Yeah, if their only losses are West Virginia and Kansas State, there's a pretty good chance. Just because I think West Virginia might be one of those teams that if they beat Kansas, there will be another one of the contenders that knocks them off, and we get ourselves into this round robin tiebreaker kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah, if you're betting Kansas to win the Big 12, it's because you don't feel comfortable with that 8.5, and depending on if they have to replay Kansas State in the Big 12 championship game, maybe you take your cash out and run away with the money. But yeah, I don't know if this team's rocking on all cylinders. They could beat anybody in the Big 12, and that includes Utah. It's just going to take, the best game they've ever had with Leipold coaching really, really well. But we know that that's not super far-fetched for them.
There's going to be so many 8-4s in the Big 12. I can't wait. It's going to be a crapshoot. Shout out to LFG. Let's fucking go.
I was going to say, they should have a bunch of 6-6s for the Phillips 66 sponsorship.
There might be some teams like maybe Cincinnati, Baylor, BYU that could sneak into that 66 club. That would be successful. Hell, maybe even Houston could pull off a miracle 6-6 with Willie Fritz. Hopefully the Mountaineers don't drop the 6-6 or over under win total 6.5. We haven't done that episode yet though. Real quick, shout out to LFG. He says he learns every time he tunes in. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate Chad G, even though he's wrong. He's fake news there. West Virginia's not going to lose. But hey, appreciate everybody rocking with us here on Friday. Next up is going to be K-State. We're going to do that next week, early next week. Before we get out of here, Troy, what you got going on?
About to go downtown and watch the Nats. Hopefully the rain kind of cuts out, but that might be a pipe dream. I think it's supposed to slow down like right around when the first pitch is supposed to come out, but if not, might be a doubleheader tomorrow, in which case I'll see you at least for the night game.
I will be at Nats Park tomorrow. Yes, I will see you. We'll get a couple beers. They're playing the Angels, so it'll be interesting. A little interleague action. Hopefully they can
big standing ovation for Anthony Rendon tonight.
Yeah, I forgot Rendon's with the Angels.
Standing ovation for the hardest worker in all of Major League Baseball. $249 million. He hasn't even played 116 games. What a guy! I mean. The American dream. The only thing better than that is being an NBA head coach that gets bought out of their like $40 million contract.
Amen. All right, guys, let's get out for the weekend. Go check out the college football experience with Colby, NC Nick, Patty C. I'm on there here and there. Me, Troy, and Rush will be on there next week actually for the Big 12 win totals lock episode. So you'll see us on that platform. Go check out the college basketball experience. Going live here in about 20 minutes with Coach Brooks Savage of the East Tennessee State Buccaneers. Go check out all those coaching interviews. We're about 20 in, baby. Rocking and rolling as we get closer and closer to November 4th. Oh, we may even have Bill Self on in the future, Kansas fans. So go check out that platform. Go check out the college baseball experience, the FCS experience. Go find out about Lindenwood, Kansas fans. It's your opener. We all come together on youtube.com/the college experience. Please subscribe, like, leave a message, tell a friend, tell a cousin, help us help you. And that's all I got, man. Let's get out of here. He is at Troy Chewning. I am at Moneyline_Mac. We are the Big 12 College Experience, and we are out of here.
Let that hate out, America. Vote Clayton Bigsby.